Hey y'all, it is Jaha Zainabu, and welcome to Storytime with Jaha Zainabu 11. 11. I say that every day, like, wow, 11, 10, 4, 2. But I think it's a big deal that that I'm coughing like this. But that I've been here 11 days, and I like that. I'm sorry that I'm coughing like this. Okay, so I'm gonna begin with a random story. What random story will I begin with? The random story today that I'm gonna begin with just popped into my head. So I am in elementary school, and maybe I'm in the 5th grade. And I had two dogs growing up. One was named Fritz and the other was Brutus. So Fritz and Brutus. Fritz we got first. Fritz was a dash hound, the wiener dogs. And he was black and beautiful, and we loved Fritz. And Fritz got hit by a car and he died. And that was a thing to me. And I could not believe that I was crying over my dead dog the way that I was mourning my dead dog, but it was serious. And so this happened on a Saturday. So the next day, obviously, is Sunday. And I go to church. I'm in Sunday school. And in Sunday school, in the middle of class, middle of Sunday school, I start crying. I'm bawling. And I am just in deep sorrow over my dog, Fritz. But I don't want the girls, the other, big girls in my class to know that I'm crying over a dog, because when you're that age, you don't want to be called a baby. And I didn't want to be called a baby. So I'm crying, and the teacher stops and she was like, well, what is wrong, And so all eyes are on me, and I had to explain why I'm crying. And I said, I'm just sad because Jesus died for my sins. And I remember the teacher like, okay. I mean, yeah. So, but looking back, like if I'm looking at that story, like it's not me, I think that's so precious. So random story. And why do I begin with random stories? I begin with random stories because I hear so often how when we sit down, we don't know what to write. And what we write we have it in our heads that it has to be this deep and long thing. And it doesn't. It can be any random story that pops into your brain. And often one random story will lead to a related random story and another one and another one. And if it doesn't, that one is the writing session for the day. We don't have to make it as deep as we make it. Today I'm going to read poems from my book 365.2013, a poem a day series. It looks like this. If you like it, you can order it from worldstagepress.org. Again, that's worldstagepress.org. If you're ever buying from an author, buy the book from the author or from his or her publishing company. When you buy from Amazon, we do get paid, but there's a big difference in what we get paid. So, no, you won't have it tomorrow if you get it from worldstagepress.org. And if you're in a situation where you are just leaving Earth and you gotta have it tomorrow, then go through Amazon. But ideally, go through the publishing company. So I'm just gonna read a few poems. Well, not a few, a little bit more than a few. So just hang. First poem is called Dear Urias. And I wrote this January 1st, 2013. Maybe I will never get it right. This honor called mother, there was never manuscript. Only these hands, this heart, these veins that pump dreams for you. Wishes that will fence foes from you. Who knows what right is? There was never a you before you came. You are my new under the sun. And here we are in these years where you learn to live your life into your own rainbow, and I am left with inherited fears of you and the world and police and stand your ground laws that won't change fast enough. I am ever stomping nightmares, each day visioning you, man, with shield and sword, with honor, with table manners, with a love you hold and share whisper. I am proud of you, of the human being you became, the spirit large you possess, your father's eyes and nose, my lips and legs, that deep earth skin, that quiet, that stare, that knows those secrets, those stories. The world is not ready. I have always known you as superhero. You will leave the world. You will leave and travel the world. Your hands will heal. Your words will create mountains. Oh, mountains, you are tree, Uraeus, roots, sky, sun, rock. And that was a poem for my beautiful son, Uraeus, whom I am deeply, deeply proud of. I did want to raise a child that I would be friends with, even if we weren't related. And if we weren't related and I saw Uraeus at some random open mic or somewhere, I would look at him and go, I want to be that kid's friend. So I'm proud of that. This poem is called A Note to Self. I wrote this poem January 4th, 2013. Dear Jaha, you will not get it all done. You won't. There will be days the thought of laundry in the corner of the room will hammer your skull like devil, like death. You will want to die. The anxiety will boil the iron and needles in your vein. You will want to race nose first into the fastest, largest truck, but you will not. You will survive those days. You will breathe and you will know that the boiling has nothing to do with the laundry undone in the corner of the room. You will see yourself in the moments after, the hours beyond the episodes that will not be bigger than you. It is not the laundry. It's never the laundry or the dishes or the guy in the movies eating popcorn too loudly. You already know. But in the moments, those moments, when the heavy is the weight of sun, when the earth quakes and finds you to dump its brickiest brick, then you will forget that you are bigger than all of this, even this. You will smile at your reflection in the mirror. You will keep smiling until you almost mean it. Almost will be good enough. You will always get past it. A prayer will appear, or a puppy, a song, a ribbon, a rainbow. God will show her face and remind you to remember. You cannot control the weather. You just cannot. But the rain will announce himself. He always does if you listen, so listen, Jaha. You will not get it all done. You won't. And you will survive it all. I was dealing with a lot of heavy depression in 2013, so that's what shows up. Also in 2013, I was a caregiver I spent a lot of years being a caregiver. During this time, I was a caregiver to my favorite client. Her name was Miss Catherine, and she was a lovely woman. And so there are a few poems in here about her. This poem is called A Poem for Catherine, and it was written January 8th, 2013. Maybe we got it wrong. What if we are the ones who need help? What help can I give to you with all those years under your eyes? See better than I can dream. What stories do I have for you, much as you already know? Remembering what day it is ain't all it's cracked up to be. So what about mismatched socks or whatever, and phrases repeated over and over? So what? It feels good to me. You like my boots. Every time I walk in the room, I get more compliments from you in an hour than I get all week from anyone outside this room. I have to speak well above a whisper for you to hear what I have to say, and so what? We ain't got no secrets anyway. Who else know? Who else I know walk through the neighborhood and touch every tree, kiss every flower, whisper love on each dog walk by? We are the ones who need help. It's not you. You deserve your feet up and hand to your room, change your clothes. It costs nothing out my day to cook your food, to laugh and walk, to speak a little bit louder over and over. All those stories you give me for free, what do I know about 87 years? What do I know about how brave you have to be to forget the moments just before, the courage it must take to not recall a friend who knows you well, and hold a past so long ago, so close to now? So what? You are always colder than I am and slower than my walk. What a blessing to be warm with you. Ease my gait for you. My day is coming, if I keep living, when I will want a hand to hold, to be reminded of the hour. I hope to be so brave, to remember to love my pets and wear my hat, to kiss each flower, to hug every tree. So we used to go for walks every day. And every time we would go for a walk, she would see flowers and she would kiss the flowers. And when the dogs would come to the gate, she would just speak so kindly to the dogs. And we used to go to, she liked Thai food. And so Miss Catherine and I would go and have Thai food. And so I would always ask her, I would say, are you finished? Have you had enough? And she always would say, I have dined sufficiently. Any more would be superfluous. And I just thought that was beautiful. Yeah, so that's a poem for her. So I'm not going to read this poem, but I'm going to tell you about it. The poem is called, if you have the book, the poem is called My Name Is, and it was written January 14th, 2013. And the poem, so the commitment, the project and the commitment was to write a poem every day. And on this day, I didn't know what to write about. I was kind of drawing a blank. And so I said, I'm going to write, so I'm going to write. And so I emptied my bag and I wrote about the contents of my bag. And why I carry what I carry. So when you are stuck, like there is always something to write about. I just emptied my purse and I wrote about why the phone, why the Tylenol, and the Tom's toothpaste, just all of the things that I carry and why I carry them. I'm not going to read that poem, just because I'm not. This is another poem that I wrote to myself. I have a lot of poems called Dear Jaha in this book. So this poem is also called Dear Jaha, and it was written January 18, 2013. The day will happen, but not if you don't take a minute to breathe. If you do not breathe, the day will not happen. Not for you. Burlington Coat Factory will open, but you will not get new leggings or boots. You will not pick up your son, and you will not complain about his phone not being charged. You will actually disappear because you did not take a minute for you. Work does not count. Breaks at work do not count. The bank after work. The post office before that. Your appointment with a doctor this morning. The dishes, separating the laundry, getting the car washed, and going to Ralph's Market, even to get 15 items or less. None of this counts, especially if your shoulders are tight and you are holding your breath the whole time. The post office, the stores, the car, the job, the traffic, and McDonald's only matter when you let go, when you take in the moment, all of the moments. Aretha Franklin's Say a Little Prayer playing at the bank, the security guard with the deep voice and perfect smile at CVS, leggings 2 for $15 at Rainbow, the $20 bill under the seat. This is what counts. This being still in your car, in the parking lot on Crenshaw and Imperial, watching the buses roll in, breathing and letting go. And if you did not laugh at the man's selling bootleg videos and fake Louis Vuitton bags with a sweatshirt that said, "I'm real," then you missed the whole point of the day. That's that. Let's see. I don't even remember some of these poems. Here's another one called Dear Jaha, but I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to bore you with it. But I had to write a lot of notes to myself to get myself through 2013 because I did. This poem is called Bullies, Babies, Us, and it was written January 25th, 2013. What happened to us that a 14-year-old girl is beaten, cries for help, onlookers video, for Facebook, for YouTube, and now she is missing, away from her family, reading posts with laughs, pokes, and jokes about her begging for help. Have you ever begged for help? Did someone laugh in your face while you were being kicked in the head? Who are we that this is funny? That a missing girl beaten and shamed. San Diego, Carlsbad, high school. I am sorry, Bailey. But what good is my sorry, my poem, my tear? I am sorry that you screamed for help and was videotaped instead to be shown and spread online for us to comment and like. Yeah. So I got a lot of stuff from news. Yeah, I did. And I probably shouldn't have. But I did. This is another story that was in the news. This is called Hadia Pendleton, February 2nd, 2013. I am so tired of writing poems about babies dying for nothing. I am ill in all ways of babies dying because somebody fired a gun, where people were just living their lives, where children were just playing hide, go seek, or freeze tag. But freeze tag is just a game. Somebody unfreeze this baby before I lose my mind, before the world loses its mind. This is no poem. This is my breath leaving my body. If there is another body, I will write another poem for what good it does. This is my work. Those words won't make a difference either. I am falling out of hope. Who can write a poem about a 15-year-old girl hearing a gunshot and running away and then losing her life. Who can write a poem about anything else? Sweet Hadia. Oh, your smile, your eyes, your perfect face. This is happening. This did happen. I have to keep scribbling your name with my bare, dry fingers to remind myself that this is the world. My tears and out-of-breath self are just not enough. I don't understand, Hadia, Hadia. And so, what if I did understand? Would my new knowledge stop babies like you from dying? From being chased down by bullies and being tagged it? I don't know if her name is pronounced Hadia or Hadia. I've heard it both ways. And so I want to honor her and say her name correctly. But, yeah. And here's another poem called Dear Jaha that I won't read. But it begins with, I'll just read the beginning. Dear Jaha, it's February 4th, 2013. There is good in the world. There are children home and safe with people who love them. They are appropriately touched and cared for. There are women who walk the streets at ease, women who have never been raped, women without past that chase them with sharp teeth in their dreams, women who are in relationships that nurture their growth and desires. There are police who protect black boys. There are. Everyone is not losing their homes. So I think you get the point. I just had become swallowed and resolved to the fact that there is only bad news in the world. And so I had to write a letter to myself to remind myself that there is good in the world. I remember I said in one of the other story times that I think people tend to think that if you haven't lived this tragic life or, have these really, hard things that have happened, then your poem doesn't count or measure up. We want to hear good stories. We want that. We need that. Please write those stories. This poem is called Black Like Me. A white man in a parking lot today, and it was written February 9th, 2013. A white man in a parking lot today stood next to me, unzipped his pants, and let urine stream from his penis into a puddle that will one day disappear, but that pool, in its evaporated state, will never be as invisible as I was, a black woman standing next to him under the sun. And I wrote that poem because when you venture to urinate outside in public, you tend to try to find the most private spot you can. And this white man stood next to me and standing next to me, and he saw me there. And it wasn't on some sex shit. It wasn't that. It was like, that was private enough. I was invisible enough. So what? This woman is here. It just didn't give, look at my penis. It didn't give that. It gave, so what? It's just a black woman. It's just her. So that's why I wrote that. I am scrolling. Here's another poem. Oh, I read that in another one, so I don't want to read that now. Let's see. It's funny, I went from being really, really sad in these poems to just really in this euphoric kind of state where I'm writing these blissful poems about nature. But that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. This poem is called New Moons, and it was written March 5th, 2013. In the girls' bathroom on the big playground, I watched Belinda and Cherise put on lip gloss, rubbed their tucked-in lips together to smear the shiny paint. Lynn's big sister taught her how to replace her shaved-off eyebrows with black pencil, looked like half-moon charcoal. Janice learned how to smoke the year before, when we were just fifth-grade babies. We were women now, with tissue titties, 2 pair of shorts under our skirts, except for Marie, who had her own big booty without the extra help. All the boys liked Marie. Long hair ran in Rosie's family. Green eyes Tracy wore shirts that showed her stomach. My period had started the summer before. We were all grown women, the whole world at our feet, with our painted nails and pretend boyfriends, our fake smoking and kissing contest, our dry hump partners and hide go get it, our French braids and flipped up bangs, long ponytails with barrettes at the ends, tube socks with our shorts, all us women, grown as we could be. We was grown, baby. We was grown. Wow. This poem is called For Tanya McDowell, written March 6, 2013. If a tree falls in the forest, someone will hear it. Someone will. Someone will give that tree a name and proper burial. If a black woman gets sentenced to 12 years in jail for sending her son to school, 6 years old public school, will someone hear? Tanya McDowell was a woman who did get sentenced to jail for 6 years. No, was it 6 years? No, 12 years she was sentenced to. I don't know how much time she actually did, but because she sent her son to the school where the son's in a district where the son's father lived, but not where she lived. And I guess the son's father, where the son's father lived, was a better school district, and so she wanted her son to go to school in that school district. And so they found out what was going on, and so they sentenced her to jail. I mean, that's some bullshit to me. That's some stay in your place, chocolate face shit to me. So there was a Tanya McDowell part 2 that is much the same, just more detailed. And so there was a lot of triggering shit in the news. I mean, isn't there always? For Kamani Gray, for all of us, and for you too. March 11th, 2013. 16 years old, Flatbush, New York, Brooklyn, city life, black life, babies, black babies again and again shot down by police. Witnesses say he was fixing his belt, screaming, "Stop, stop, don't let me die." Kamani Gray, see how your mouth has to smile when you say both his names. I did not know Kamani Gray. And somehow I knew all the Kamani Grays, all of their brown faces messied round my bones like gravel in my swallow. Every single time I hear too many city streets lit up like hell, candles burning corners. where our babies died. We don't want burning candles. We want our babies back. We want you to mouth their names in your prayers, your songs, your thoughts, your cereal, your soup. We want you to see our babies, our boys, our black boys, those big, tired eyes, afraid for the day. This is no way to live. This is no way to live. But then you already know. You already know. Yeah. This poem is called I Wish I Played an Instrument, and it was written March 14th, 2013. If my mother is reading this now, she is saying out loud to herself, see, I tried to get you guys to continue with your piano lessons, even though my sister and I are not guys, even though I didn't and don't want to play the piano, not for the church choir or behind the preachers when they hoop and holler, not even to learn we are soldiers, for the ushers to march around during the offering, for the building fund. But then in 1979, what girls were playing the upright bass? I wish I saw one. I wish one came to my church. I wish a girl came to my church to celebrate some anniversary of something, because there were so many of those, and she drove some cool old car and smelled like something sinful, like cigarettes or pussy, and had a tattoo or something the deacons would be all in a fuss about. And she got up in that pulpit with her long black skirt, her faded denim jacket, and her yellow Chuck Taylors, and played, gonna walk around heaven all day long, even though what heaven worth its salt will be boring enough just to want to do that. But then I understand, because a girl's got to rest sometime. And then maybe she cried a little bit when she got to the end of the song, then paused for a minute after the last note, and then threw her arm in the air like, yeah. And all the church ladies and all the church men couldn't close their mouths back together again. That would have been nice. Where were role models like that back then? This poem is called Thick, and it was written March 19th, 2013. I always wear sweaters. I am never cold. Ever something round my neck to hang to the floor in summer, in spring, in Cali, in Florida. Some kind of boots come up to my knees, sunglasses too big for my face. I am always the photographer, never the subject. I keep running, keep hiding under the fog. See me underneath this big hat, through all this thick paint. Hear me, this whisper, this smile, this dress up, these heels, these bracelets, these rings, this raincoat, these slippers, these layers and layers, so far from you. This is another poem about Miss Catherine, and it's called This Now, This Now, This. March 21st, 2013. She has Alzheimer's. It does not have her. She will ask me the same question 20 more times today, and I will answer 20 more times with the same smile. She will tell me about something yesterday before I was born. I will listen and learn the same something new again. We will walk. I will tie her right shoe at the same corner as before. Again. She will kiss the same flowers, touch the same trees before. Before does not matter, just this moment, and this, with the same smile as before. again, again, before, again. Oh, wow, yeah. This poem is about a woman named Marilyn Murphy who died. This poem is about an attack on Marilyn Murphy, but she did not die in this attack. And she told me this story, and I wrote this poem. And the poem was written March 26, 2013. She died well after 2013. I woke up this morning at the God hour of 3, thinking about my friend. No, wait a minute. No. She died before 2013, but not from this. I'm going to start over. Deal. You will deal. I woke up this morning at the God hour of 3, thinking about my friend M and the days we sat in her kitchen. She smoked cigarettes and I drank wine while she edited some book at her desk, blew smoke out the window. She had stories to tell that would go on forever. I listened and laughed as long as she spoke. She and her family were from New York. M came out first, then her sister, a cousin, her mother. Her mother moved into a convalescent home nearby. She hated LA. Escaped from her bed, fought with the staff to stand in the hall in the middle of the night to call New York. No one in particular, just hold the phone to her ear and talk to New York. Her mother died months later, still wanting New York. One day, M was alone, and her nephew came by for money, for coffee, to stay through the night. She got a bad vibe and turned him away. Later, weeks later, nephew came back. They sat in her kitchen. They talked while she smoked. As he stood to say goodbye, she got that vibe from before. He walked close behind her and pulled out a knife, stabbed her 11 times in the back, under her neck, close to her chest. This is for not letting me in before, you bitch. You bitch. And then ran away. Nephew is still in jail. M did not die till 6 years later. Not from the knife, but cancer. The cigarettes, the smoke she blew out the window, the smoke trapped in her lungs with her stories, that laugh, all those poems. This morning at 3, I was back in her kitchen with wine, with tea, while she edited some book, blew smoke out the window, told her stories to me. Yeah. It's like going through old photos. Like a lot of these. I don't usually go through this book, but when I do, it just reminds me of going through old photos. 2013 was, this is 225, I don't know, whatever that, it was that many years ago. Yeah. Yeah. This poem is called Reach, written April 23rd, 2013. Miss Barbara told her 4-year-old daughter, "Run, put her pants on when daddy comes home, 'cause a girl child shouldn't walk around showing her panties, 'cause a dick ain't got no conscience." Miss Barbara is my elder, so I am careful with my questions, but I am curious about daddy, about his penis that cannot help itself, about girl children protecting their bodies inside their homes from sleepwalking penises. I wonder about her son, about messages, about control, about dicks just being dicks. Yeah. This poem is called Next. I just see the first sentence. I don't know where this poem is going. And if it's going somewhere crazy, I'm going to stop because I don't remember this poem. But for some reason, I'm called to read it. It's called Next, and it was written April 29th, 2013. The man in the lane next to me rolled his window down to tell me that I was still beautiful. Not a continuing beauty like from before. I am a beautiful in spite of something. I wonder if I was supposed to be thankful. Appreciate that even with my whatever that must exist on my left side between the top of my head and my shoulder, somehow I managed to maintain some semblance of beauty even though. Before he drove away, he asked if I wanted to go on ahead and give him my 7 digits. Grown women have telephone numbers not available upon request at a stoplight. But that is neither here nor there. Either way, we do not have digits. Not even though women like me. I actually remember that day. Like, you still pretty. I know this. This poem is called Perspective, May 4th, 2013. Today my mother said that when she was in junior high, they had to walk 100 miles to school. You did not walk 100 miles to school, I said respectfully as I could. We walked 3 miles through all white neighborhoods, past folks who hated us, and we were children. You walked 100 miles to school, I said, respectfully as I could. Yeah. Yeah. This poem is for Marissa Alexander, May 14th, 2013. For Marissa Alexander, who fired a warning shot in the air to keep her abusive husband from abusing her again. And while no one was hurt, we were all hurt. She was sentenced to 20 years. I dare you to say 20 years with a straight face. I wish I were a better poet and I could paint this picture with words I have never used before. I am not. I am the same poet who has cried this despicable cry before, who is wondering again why being black and woman is to be silenced and discarded. Silenced and discarded are my poet words. I am just worn and cried out. I am losing the little hope I had. Poets are supposed to inspire, I was told. I am Marissa Alexander, and so are you. We are being captured again, in plain sight again, chained again, sold again. Tired as these lungs are, I will not scream her name, my name, your name too. I only have questions left about her children, about the message to the world, to boys, to girls, to our girls, about protecting ourselves, about the price we pay for standing our ground. I have love poems in here too. I don't know that I will read them right now, but maybe. Maybe. I have a lot of poems about gratitude. I don't remember this case, but I'm going to read the poem. The poem is called For a Real Right, May 27th, 2013. I witch my words like prayer and spell you a home. You are not a missing, not you. Not you. You are a found. You are a home. You are a safe. We see you well. The we in your world is bigger than you know. We are your mothers, we your fathers. We are the we of your aunts, cousins, friends. We pray you home. Your worries lifted, your fears away. Breathe, baby, baby, breathe. Apparently there was a young lady named Ariel Wright who was missing, and I wrote a poem. I was writing poems about everything. This poem is called Sigh, May 29th, 2013. There are no words for the ice I am after reading about 4 white teens, 2 boys, 2 girls, luring 2 black male teens to a party to strangle them to death and have sex over their dead bodies because 2 white teens had a fetish. Maybe tomorrow I will breathe. Not today, though. Not today. So when I look back and I look at just the titles of some of these poems, yeah, I did go through a lot of depressive episodes because I was listening to a lot of news and writing about it. But there was also a lot of gratitude. Yeah, there was a lot of gratitude. I'm just not called right now to read those poems. This poem is called Love More Than More, June 16, 2013. Love is wet than water, drip, hug all down my face to my neck, cross my toes. Love is preach than sermon. Fill me up with all this word, this feel good, this moxie to move. Love, sun like Uraeus, swing, rays like locks. Tie my hands and my heart to sky, my feet to cloud. Love song, then guitar, then bass and drum. Love swim, then waves. Float, then feather. Love forever, forever, then sin. Love free, then prayer. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote a poem about, I'm not going to read it because I just don't feel like it. But this was a poem for Rachel Gentile, June 27th, 2013. Rachel Gentile was the young woman on the phone with Trayvon Martin as he was walking and trying to get away from Zimmerman. And she had to testify. And so I wrote a poem about her. If you'd like to know how that poem goes, you can buy the book, right? Um, yeah. The poem I was reading in my head is a poem called 911, written July 12th, 2013, about the police were telling people how to respond in case of the verdict. And it's like, don't tell me how to respond. Like, tell your people, stop doing shit. Like, killing us. And I'm trying not to read another poem. And I'm not like that. And I am not, all of the poems that I'm skipping are not, all, downers. But, it's the news. Yeah. Yeah. I am going to read, let's see. I have some poems that are just about writing, about me sitting down at the table or wherever I was writing and just getting it done. And I look back and I read those poems and I appreciate that and acknowledge myself for being bold enough to just write. Yeah. To just get whatever I was feeling out. And sometimes those feelings were not the most positive feelings, but they were feelings that belonged to me and deserved a voice. This poem is called Another Bus Story, written September 25th, 2013. Walk from Western to Crenshaw to catch the 210 South. There is a bus that runs to Crenshaw, but why miss the wind on my face while I got it? Why not give my legs chance to stretch while I can? Press, bus pass, find seat, plop easy next to black metal kid with skateboard and black nails, that's cool. In front of two black men talking shit. One has a 3-year-old boy with him, whatever, talking about Gardena, Hawthorne, and Torrance ain't shit. He rolling down south with his mama. Homeboy say, fuck you with your country ass, and they laugh. He ain't going down south with his mama. How do we all just know? Another black man eyeballs another black man too long. What you claim? Motherfucker, my name is Gerald. How many motherfuckers named Gerald you know, bang? And we all laugh. And we all went on about the ride. I remember that day. The guy was sitting next to me, and so one guy sitting here and the other is directly across from him. And he looked at him and he was like, what you claim? Like, what set you from? And the guy was like, my name is Gerald. How many motherfuckers named Gerald you know, bang? And then we all just laughed, like, I don't know why. Because we needed the laugh is why. Because we needed the laugh. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm coming. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. You know what? I have so many gratitude poems. I could actually make a book of gratitude poems. Maybe I will. Right? This poem is called Connect We, Tether Me, Double Knotted by Thick Rope to the back of your tongue. And when you scream for anything, I will know, because no note will pass your lips without my understanding, because that is how close and quiet we are together. This poem is called Soul Food Man, November 12th, 2013. An old black man on the 210 bus today took time south on Crenshaw to explain the difference between Texas pumpkin pie and California pumpkin pie, and how sweet potato pie ain't like neither one, and bean pie can't compare. Imitation crab meat is for salads and don't cook well in gumbo, and roux is only for thickness. Soupy gumbo tastes just as good, depending on how you stir. And there is a special syrup just for yams. I listened and I imagined him in the kitchen as a boy with his mother. He quieted the bus with his words, smell like collard, like turnip, soul, potatoes, from Washington Ave to Vernon. I remember that day too. I remember he just got on a bus and he was just telling stories about food. And we were quiet and we listened. This poem is for Renisha McBride, for me, and for you. The poem was written November 19th, 2013. Renisha McBride was a woman who needed help with her car, or just like to use a phone, or, something was wrong with her car, and she knocked on a white man's door who shot her in the face and killed her. And there is a thing that happens when black bodies fall. You count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and then somehow it is our fault that we got shot. How they blamed Trayvon, how they said he was not a good student anyway, and how he, stuff that don't have shit to do with George Zimmerman killing this boy. And so, this poem is for Renisha McBride. If I am shot in the face in the wee hours of the morning, my African and American brown freckled body dragged onto the table, will the doctor cut me open and see that I failed geometry in the 10th grade? Will she lift my guts and know I sexed a man in the back seat of a car? I never married the father of my son. Will I be a sinner? If she finds Merlot, weed brownies, and Trayvon stickers spilled down my blouse, will I be a cunt who deserved to be put out of her misery? If the doctor runs my credit score and finds my rating poor, will it justify my slit throat and my teeth gnashed and bloody jaws? Will the doctor see scars from my abortion, know that I was bipolar, overweight, and wore a ring in my nose? What will she say about my penchant for cheese and bread in the middle of the night? Will she peruse my journals, my blogs, and find bad punctuation, words against the government? Will she look for Obama posters under my bed, Oscar Grant petitions on top of my bookcase? This is for Asada, doodled in the margins. Will she turn her smug nose up to the writers on my wall? Baldwin, Morrison, Walker, Shange. Will she decide that the world has had enough of women like me, with our fists balled up and hair all kinky? Will she know my dental work and C-section were paid on the county's dime? How her brows will frown. Will movie tickets from 12 Years a Slave be stuffed down my throat? Will she think of me What will she think of me in my Malcolm X shirt and fitted blue jeans? Will she imagine sweat and hate and fire drip down my nose as Solomon is beat with a stick, skin fall from his bones? What will she think of my mother, my father, who taught me no better than to wide hip, thick lips, so black in the night? This poem is called 210 Crenshaw North, November 20, 2013. The crying baby in the front, the crowd standing in the aisle, smell of chicken, butter, bread, raindrops fall easy on the windows. The man across the aisle screaming gibberish to the moon. No one will sit next to you if you scream random, consistent gibberish. The screaming baby in the front. Move back! Move back! The driver yells. The teens kissing. I remember kissing, soft and silk kisses, to be a teenager kissing on the bus. Slauson! The smelly old lady gets off. The man with one shoe, incense, Lakers, t-shirts, and bean pie for sale on the corner. Gas is $3.89. The yelling baby in the front. The yelling baby, the fidgeting baby in the front. A black man can't catch a break. Gonna work a motherfucker till he die. All these people in this big old world, all this shit going on. Gibber, 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 gibber. He has drumsticks. Who gave him drumsticks? Clack, 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 cat, clack, 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 clack. I am no better. I am the woman under the hat. Glasses, bell bottoms, and K-Swiss sneaks. Do not trust a woman wearing K-Swiss sneaks in 2013. The screaming baby in the front. The screaming baby in the front. Vernon! The kissing teens get off. The blue black man gets on with locks to the floor. I want to know him. I want to write his story. I want to paint his picture. I want to touch his smooth skin. He looks soft and strong as a red candle to Ogun. Suddenly, the gibber man is quiet, the screaming baby in the front. The check cashing place is still open. Taco Bell, the pawn shop, the screaming baby in the front. Starbucks is crowded tonight, the one just before rodeo. Rodeo, not rodeo. Rodeo, not rodeo like rodeo. Rodeo and rodeo, like rodeo, never cross. They never connect. They never look each other in the face and say, let me love you. Let me kiss you like Sunray, the screaming baby in the front. So we're going to end with the bus story. Thank y'all for spending another hour with me. I appreciate y'all. Do I have my shirt on inside out? I think I do. But thank y'all for spending some time with me. This is Storytime with Jaha Zainabu 11. I don't know where this is going. It's just going where it's going. I hope that you're well. Love yourselves and mean it.